Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in a prior video shown here, I talked just about the pros of living in Oklahoma City. So I hope you'll check out that video. And now let's face it, Oklahoma City has a lot of positives to talk about, but really no place is perfect, and Oklahoma City is no exception. How would I know? Well, I've lived here all my life, over 62 years to be exact. It's a long time. And I know this place really well. So in this video, I'll cover all the cons you need to be aware of if you're thinking about moving here. And truthfully, it's possible some of these could change for the better in the future, but others, well, let's just say you have to learn to live with them. Case in point, the weather. It is what it is. So with that said, I'm going to bring you up to speed on the not so fun stuff you need to know about living in Oklahoma City based on a lifetime of experience. And since I already mentioned it, here's con number one, the biggest con on the list. The weather. When you think of Oklahoma, you probably think of tornadoes, thanks in large part to the movie Twister. And no, we don't have flying cows. I mentioned that on another video. It's true. We sit in the middle of what's called Tornado Alley, and large devastating tornadoes, they occur here. And the May 3rd, 99 tornado devastated parts of Moore and Del City, Oklahoma. That was the largest, most powerful tornado ever recorded, in a Category 5 storm, F5 storm, with winds upwards of 300 miles an hour. And that day on May 3rd, there was as many as 27 large tornadoes formed and moved across central Oklahoma. Granted, just be aware, these storms are the exception, they're not the rule, but they do occur. But the truth is, in my 60 years of living here, like a lot of Oklahomans, I admit I've never seen a tornado in real life. Weather forecasting here, it's come a long way. And so the weather radar, the technology is really sophisticated. Our National Severe Storms Lab is actually based in Norman, about 30 minutes south of Oklahoma City. So when storms do roll in, these really severe storms, and when it's a tornado that's the focus of everyone's attention, maybe there's a tornado on the ground, you'll typically have plenty of time to prepare if it looks like it's moving your way. However, having said that, the risk of ever being affected by one here are really small. Nevertheless, many of the houses that are built here are being built with in-ground tornado shelters, including the house I live in now as a precaution. It's something every Oklahoman takes seriously, but it's not something ever to obsess over. And that said, get prepared, because if you live here, we have severe weather alerts all the time on the television. Now, while large damaging tornadoes are pretty rare, what accompanies them is damaging hail, and that is common. That is a common occurrence here. We rank in the top 3 nationally when it comes to hail damage to automobiles, and in 2017, we had 650,000 properties damaged by hail. It's a lot. Be aware that homeowners' insurance policy premiums here are twice the national average, largely resulting from the potential for wind and hail damage claims. So choose your policy carefully. Turning our attention to winter, we only get about 6 to 7 inches of snow every year, but what's more problematic is the other stuff we get, and that's ice. Significant ice storms here are frequent, and they wreak havoc. I mean, they down large trees and power lines. They leave thousands of people without power, often for days and weeks. It's a real mess. For that reason, a lot of Oklahomans bite the bullet and they invest in a home generator. And even as little as 1/10 of an inch of ice can really cause city streets to turn into skating rinks. And Oklahomans do not know how to drive on ice and snow. For that reason, here locally, schools are usually quick to close when the white stuff's in the forecast. So just be advised. Now on the bright side, I suppose you can look at it, we get to experience all 4 seasons here in Oklahoma City. So before we leave the subject of weather, let's talk about something we deal with year-round. Heck, we even mentioned it twice in the first verse of our state song. See what I mean?
Oklahoma, when the wind comes sweeping down the plain, and the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain.
Yeah, the wind blows here all the time. I mean, constantly. Always, and it's always from the south, except in the winter when it blows occasionally from the north, but then spring comes and it blows back from the south. So speaking of summer, not only is it very windy here, it's very hot, but it's also very humid. Let's just put it bluntly, summers here can be miserable for that reason. So hey, before we head to number 2, let me take a second to introduce myself. My name is Lynn Taggart. I'm a realtor here in Oklahoma City with Coldwell Banker Select. This place has been my home, as I said, for over 60 years. I grew up here, went to school here, married here, bought my first house here at a 14% interest rate. Thank you very much. And I raised my kids here. Before becoming a realtor, I worked here all my adult life as an engineer with Devon Energy most recently. I worked in that big tall tower downtown. This is the tallest building in the state. And I was a marketing executive of Sonic, the well-known fast food franchise that used to be based here. So I've lived here a lifetime, and a lifetime of living here means I have a lifetime of knowledge, and I look forward to helping you as you make decisions about your move here. So now that you know a little bit about me, let's jump back to number 2. So number 2 is something to really pay attention if you have kids. Number 2, public schools here are really poorly ranked. Hey, I'm married to a school teacher in the public school system in Oklahoma City. So it's not, my mom was a teacher here for 40 years, so I know all about this one. We rank 34th in terms of teacher pay. It used to be worse, and we rank dead last when it comes to the pay for the school support staff. Average pay here is a little under $55,000 a year for teachers compared to over $65,000 nationally. So, big difference. It's really no wonder Oklahoma finds it difficult to keep teachers from leaving the state, and really put it bluntly, teachers here are woefully underpaid. And it's kind of reflected also in student performance. It's lagging here as well. Public schools in Oklahoma rank 45th in the nation. Student ACT scores here place Oklahoma 48th nationally, trailing only Nevada and Mississippi. Of course, the pandemic didn't help anything, but currently in the Oklahoma City public school system, 69% of students in grades 3 through 8 are performing below their grade level. And if you just look at 8th graders, 84% are performing below grade level. It's not good. There are a few bright spots in the Oklahoma City area when it comes to school districts, however. The Deer Creek, Piedmont, Edmond, and Moore schools are pretty highly ranked, and they perform much better than their peers in the Oklahoma City market. We also have a number of private schools in the area that are known for their academic performance. These schools regularly send students to some of the most prestigious colleges around the country. Schools like Cassidy, Heritage Hall, Mount St. Mary's, Bishop McGuinness, and Crossings are several that come to mind. The bottom line is when you have kids and you're deciding where you want to live here in this town, you definitely want to take into account what school district your possible home will be in. All right, con number 3, marijuana dispensaries here are everywhere. Marijuana use for medicinal purposes was okayed here, was legalized in 2018. Yes, that's right. Weed is legal here, sort of, in Red State, Oklahoma. Patients must obtain a board-certified physician's signature, though, to get their card to be able to purchase it. That being said, lax regulation, really low barriers to entry have triggered incredible explosion of growth here in the industry. We are lovingly referred to sometimes in jest as we're the Wild West of weed here in Oklahoma. So to put things in perspective, last year, the state of Oklahoma generated more tax revenue from the sale of medicinal marijuana products than they did from the sale of beer. Let that sink in for a moment. Marijuana dispensaries are everywhere, on every street corner. You can occasionally spot the indoor and outdoor grow operations around the Oklahoma City metro. And you know what? I hate to say this, but even if you can't see them or spot them, you can smell them as you drive down the street. Number 4, we have a high concentration of jobs in a single industry, and that industry is oil and gas. Since I was an engineer in the oil and gas industry for over 20 years, I know a little bit about this one. A recent study showed that oil and gas accounts for 1 out of every 4 jobs in Oklahoma, both directly and indirectly. It's nearly 400,000 jobs. That's astounding, and folks, that's not good. When your ideal goal is to have a highly diversified local economy, and to that end, working in the oil business is highly cyclical, with booms and busts and large layoffs happening over and over and over and over again, entirely dependent on the ups and downs of the price of oil. And I speak from experience here. I've been through 7 layoffs in my career. There are a few other large employers in the metro area, with the exceptions being Tinker Air Force Base, AT&T, Hobby Lobby, the retail chain, and Paycom, who owns the naming rights to the arena that the Oklahoma City Thunder NBA team play in. Unfortunately, there's an absence of large high-tech employers here in the metro area. Now, that could change in the future, but for now, it is what it is. Con number 5, Location here makes air travel challenging. So in Oklahoma City, if you fly, very few flights here are direct to your destination. I hate to say it. You nearly always have to fly to a hub somewhere to catch a connecting flight to get you to where you want to go. And I speak from experience here because I used to travel a lot for work. And I'm telling you, it's a real pain. It takes up a lot of time when you can't fly direct, and it makes air travel a lot more complicated with connections and such. Hubs that Oklahoma City outbound flights connect to include DFW Airport in Texas, George Bush in Houston, Texas, Denver, Chicago, and Atlanta. Unfortunately, what this means is that flights originating from Oklahoma City tend to be more expensive than flights originating from places like DFW or Chicago or LA. Now, lastly, this is neither a pro nor a con, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. So for folks moving here, in case you didn't know it already, Oklahoma, and for the most part Oklahoma City, is a very, very conservative place. And as one native and a friend of mine said, this state has a sunburn, it's so red. And the case in point, in both the 2016 and 2020 presidential elections, every single county in the state voted Republican. So conservative values are the norm here, and changes, it's occurring, but it's occurring very slowly. And, you know, speaking of medicinal marijuana, while it was approved in 2018, just last week, there was a proposal that the citizens voted on to make, whether or not to make marijuana legal for recreational use. And it was defeated by a vote of 2-1. So no doubt at some point in the future, the measure will come up again for a vote, but I don't know when that'll be. So that's it. That's the cons of living here in Oklahoma City, at least the ones that are top of mind for me. I think I got it right on the most important things that matter to most folks. Opinions, of course, are going to vary. If you live here or visited here, let me know what you liked or didn't like about the experience. I'm really curious and love to hear what you have to say. In the meantime, if this content is useful, please click the like and subscribe button below. Let the YouTube algorithm know I'm on the right track. I would really appreciate it. Also, let me know in the comments below what other topics you'd like me to cover in future videos. I'm all ears about that. I'd like to know. So if you'd like to talk to me about, you have questions about Oklahoma City, maybe you want to talk about moving here, a resource and would love to help you out. That's what I'm here for. I can be reached via phone, text, or email, and those links are shown down in the description box below. So, but that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again on the next video. Adios.